All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Well Talk. I'm here with my boy Armando. Man,
What's
we've been trying to get this going for a minute, but what's good, dude? How you been?
always good to see you, bro. I think that anytime you see positive people like you, and you just build community that way, man. Only hang out with positive people, so always good to see you.
No, I appreciate that. Likewise, and that's the thing too. Like linking up, connecting. You always know when you have a vibe and you see somebody, you're like, oh, this person is somebody that I want to surround myself with, right? Because you got to surround yourself with positive people, people that are productive too. So
Yeah, no
yeah,
doubt, no doubt.
yeah. No, I appreciate you tuning in, man. I know you're a busy guy, so you taking time to come on here is awesome. So welcome to Well Talk, and if you could just kind of just share with the listeners, a little bit about you, what you do, what you're about, and yeah, man.
Yeah, no, I was born in Nicaragua to Chinese
Okay.
and Nicaraguan families. I came in at a young age. My grandfathers escaped, China at a very young age, and
Mm.
they landed in Nicaragua. And so when
Wow.
people look at us, somos Nica, and I came here when I was young, and my parents, props to them. They came here under, different circumstances. They
Mm.
adapted. They gave us the life that they wanted to give us.
Mhm.
It wasn't by choice; it was by survival, and survival and thrival,
Yeah, I like
and
that.
survival and thrival or thriving, right? And so then,
Yeah.
I was raised here. While I am proud to be, Chinese Nicaraguan, I'm a proud American too. And
Mm.
so that's kind of like my journey, man. I'm from the Bay Area. I remember my mother told me if you don't go to college, you better get into a career,
Mm.
and so I didn't get a chance to do the cool jobs like my friends did, like the movie theaters and the malls, because there was no growth there. And
Yeah.
and I credit my mom for having that kind of strict guidance, and I
Mhm.
credit my father for giving me, like what your hat says, empathy.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so it was kind of like a journey, man. I got into, I managed a big corporation at 16 to 18 years old, Price Club Costco, which is unheard of for a kid in high school to be
What?
sometimes interviewing your teachers who are off on the summers, right? And
Yeah.
then I moved on into the tech world, and I did a little stint in entertainment,
Okay.
performing with Will Smith. And I ran some nightclubs, and my friends were making money in real estate. And
Uh-huh.
they're still my boys, but they weren't that smart and they were making money. So I was like, let me get into real estate. And
Okay.
so I got into real estate, and that's how I met. That's how I got into NAHREP.
Okay.
Met G. Shout out to G.
Yeah, what's good,
Um,
Gary?
yeah, and the best form of mentorship is like by doing it and spending hours with people.
Yeah.
And then that's what led me into sports today. And obviously in between that gap was the passion for food and just kind of
Mm.
like, I think that's who I am, Armando.
Yeah.
They call me Tito.
Yeah, yeah. No, I appreciate that. That's a lot to unravel with. I'm sure there's so many stories in between all of that, right? And to where you are right now, but the highlights here, yeah, real estate and the cooking as a chef, and then obviously you got the Avance Sports in the background, and there you go right there. Shout out to Avance, shout out to NAHREP, everything you guys are doing, right? And I really want to highlight that too, where you said you started out young and the process of with family and having the help and all that. What was it for you that kept you going to get to
You know
this point?
what everybody laughs at today is an asset. So when we were
Mm.
getting laughed at with, multiple families in a household, right? The typical Latino upbringing, right? Immigrant
Yeah.
upbringing. What
Yeah.
that did is establish a conscience. It
Mm.
established confidence. So when I would go to school and I was in ESL, or I had an accent at the time, or I looked different than the normal kids, right? Because I
Yeah.
came in late. I never cared about being made fun of because I went home to so much love, right?
Mm.
So again, today's society says, oh, two or three households, that's ghetto. Nah, man, that's what we had to do to survive so that we can thrive. So
Yeah.
when people make fun of that, I'm like, that was probably the best time of my upbringing, was
Mm.
when you have so many family households in one. And so that's what established the strength. And then, as a young kid, my parents had two jobs. They had a job with the 8 to 5s. My dad
Mm.
was a contractor on the weekends, and my mother was a caterer on the weekends. So it didn't matter how
Mm.
much money they made, they had that
Yeah.
work mentality.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
me, it's like it comes great. You know, you learn real estate, then you dabble in sports. And I grew up around the kitchen. My grandfather and my grandmother started a restaurant, a Chinese Nicaraguan restaurant in Nicaragua in 1955. And it lasted
What?
up until, recent. And you know
Yeah.
what it is to have a restaurant for 50 years? And so we grew up
Yeah.
around food. So to me,
Uh.
it was a natural, like Ice Cube said, my reflection is from my reality. And so
Mm. Mm.
like food was a natural combination. Hard work was in my DNA. And
Yeah.
then, finding different mentors, then you start thinking about working smart. So I can't, that's kind of like a little bit of my journey on
Mm.
how it was organic to be great at each thing that I touch in life, to be intentional,
Yeah. And that I love that too. Being great at each thing you touch in life and being
Well, because
intentional.
my father put me in Taekwondo. You know what it is trying to tell pops when you go to a tournament and you don't win a trophy? I don't care. That was the original. There's no ribbons for ninth place, fucker.
Right. I love that quote. There you go. Yeah. Wait. What is this? You got like fourth place ribbons on the wall.
I didn't know they made ninth place ribbons,
Yeah.
fucker. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Exactly.
that was the original measuring of metrics, was did I perform well in those martial arts tournaments?
Hmm. And
Yeah.
then yeah, and then that just carried out to every other area, right? You just doing things in excellence, doing things right.
You're just taught to be good at what you do, to be great at what you do.
Hmm.
And if you think about it, that's the mentality in business you want. You want to be great at what you do. When you're mentoring
Yeah.
kids, you want to be
Mm.
great at that, because
Right.
it's time of your life. Time is the most valuable commodity that we have.
Yeah.
So whatever you do, be great at it. Be dope.
Yeah, you actually said something too. Was you can't just be Latino and in sports. You can't just be. You got to be great.
Yeah,
And
I always think that you got to be great at what you do, who happens to be black. You got to be great at what you do, who happens to be Latino. Because if you're trying to be the
mm,
greatest of a national, the greatest Asian this, you're pigeonholing yourself. Be
mm,
freaking dope, who
yeah,
happens to be of the culture,
right.
and sometimes I get a lot of heat because they think I don't support that. You got to understand. You don't think my parents, when they came to this country, were called every name in the book?
Mm,
But they didn't. You don't let, like, one of the people I enjoyed and learned from is this genius artist in New York, De La Vega, and don't let idiots ruin your day. And so
yeah.
I live by those affirmations. So I didn't go to college. I just have to learn from people, or things that I see when I'm walking. And
Hmm.
so yeah, just be great at what you do. Just don't forget who you are.
I love it, and that's that,
Yeah.
and I can see that in everything. With like you said,
Hmm.
with being true to you, right? Because that's that's what makes everything work with the authenticity, and people see it. People know when it's like, oh, this person's not for real, or this person's not being consistent, or all those
Think
things.
about this: if you're cooking and you spend all that time buying the ingredients, and your food's whack, you're annoyed. You want to avoid those whack days, right?
Yeah, no, it's
Mhm.
true, and I think, man, bringing up the cooking, like I saw what you were doing too. Like you do pop ups out there and stuff, and you got all kinds of cool stuff going on in the Bay Area, which is cool. And then you do it all over too, right?
Yeah, so it's my way of therapy, right? I don't want to
Yeah,
work in a kitchen.
yeah,
I'm in business, I'm in sports, but
yeah,
it's a way. It's kind of like, you love hoops, right?
yeah.
And you love music. If you want to go back one day and DJ one night, see if you can still make the crowd move, right? You want to go shoot some
Yeah,
free throws, see if you can make 20 in a row.
yeah.
The cooking is a form of therapy for me, because what real estate taught me is that it's not what you think the house is worth.
Mm,
What determines the value is what someone's willing to pay. And so when I
mm,
did the pop-ups, I didn't go to culinary school, and I had these bougie chefs, trying to say I'm not a chef. And it's so
yeah,
stupid, because you should encourage people or mind your own
right.
business. But if you're
It's
gonna
so
critique,
true.
you got something's like, I feel like asking all those mofos, like, who hurt you, bro? You know?
Right. That's
So
good.
when I do pop-ups, it allows us to story tell. It
Mm,
allows us to connect with people. And you see if people love your food. I remember my first pop-up, man, I don't know, 15 years, 20 years ago. You know how scared I was, for people to taste it and be like, yeah, that's whack, or oh, it was good, right?
Yeah.
So it's so much, it's beyond food. It's storytelling, it's confidence building, it's reality checking, and
Yeah.
it's entertainment, man. For every time you have dinner with some friends and you reconnect with someone, you forget what's going on in life for that hour and a half of dinner, right?
Yeah.
So
It's,
that's
and
that's why I love that.
yeah, I love that too because it's like when you break bread with people, right? And you're able to like
Yep.
sit down there, like you said, it's entertainment. It's the whole experience itself.
You're gonna find more people that are gonna agree that they love your medium rare ribeye steak than having people agree on politics. So let's stick to food, bro.
Yeah, and that's funny too, cause like thinking about you saying, when people are talking down, and it's like if we had more people, especially, and this is something, man, within the Latino community that would lift each other up rather than talk
Mm.
down and
Well,
discourage.
let me break this. There will always be division. There will always be division. That
Right.
ain't ever gonna change. So I don't
Yeah.
I don't believe that unity will ever happen. But what I
Mm.
do know that is happening is choose the right side you want to be on.
Yeah.
So just find like-minded people. Don't worry about unity and all that kind of stuff. Find
Mm.
your unity with your people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that positivity attracts positive people. So you have to just understand it's always going to be divided.
Mm.
Choose the right side for you, you know?
Yeah. That's true too. Like even talking to clients, I'll tell them too, like there's always going to be people that are going to say stuff. They're going to be
Yeah.
negative. They're
Yeah.
going to try and bring you down, and you got to know your truth.
Think of this. Yeah, you're right. You got to know your truth. You go to your house,
Mm.
right? I go to your house. Let's just say
Mm.
100 people fit in there. Only let in 100 people that are cool. Why would you let
Right.
some racists come in the house?
Yeah.
But you know what happens is people are so stuck on what people post on social media. If
Mm.
we know that there are racists out there and morons out there, why
Mm.
would we get mad when we watch their content?
Mm.
Yo, scribe.
Don't
That's
watch
it.
it.
Don't
Don't watch
watch it.
it.
So
Yeah.
yeah, well,
No.
life's already hard. Let's try to make it less hard. That's all.
Yeah. And
I
that
don't have
and
all
that
the
was
answers.
no, that's, I hear you. And I was actually going to ask you because you said what was your therapy is like the cooking and stuff. I was going to ask, what do you do to help yourself? And is there anything else when you're like, you got a lot of stuff going on. You got a lot of stuff on your plate. And people, a lot of the listeners too, some of them are entrepreneurs, some of them are young. They're trying to start stuff, they're trying to do things, they're multitasking. How are you taking care of yourself, and what would you say to somebody that's like starting out?
I think one, you need to spend time with bigger people
Mm.
to see what they're doing, what you admire from them,
Mhm.
right? And then take
Yeah.
it, right? So you have compassion. I'm going to spend time with you to see if you're happy. And if you're
Yeah.
happy, which most of the time you are, then what do, right? So I know what I need to do to be happy, right?
Yeah.
And to have
Mm.
compassion. And so once you identify the qualities that you admire in people, then learn from them.
Mm. Mhm.
And so now that you know what it takes to be excellent, then you hold yourself accountable. You get what I'm saying? You hold
Yeah.
yourself accountable. So I'm very like I wake up in the morning, I spend 15 minutes just relaxing and
Yeah.
breathing and saying thank you God. Then I'll go do my walking cardio, and then
Mhm.
I'll always post a palm tree because palm
I
trees
see
are in
it.
rich neighborhood. Palm trees are
Yeah.
in rich neighborhoods and poor neighborhoods.
Yeah. That's
And
good.
when you
Yeah.
and when you look up, you look up to God. So I always thank God for being alive. And then I go into
Yeah.
my Zooms and I go into
Mm.
my work, and then I try to finish at a decent time, and then remind myself, did I achieve what I want to achieve today?
Mhm.
But a lot of times people don't hold themselves accountable. They're afraid to
Mm.
admit they suck. Like I have to admit I suck. Like I got to lean out 15 pounds. It's better for my pressure, my heart,
Mhm.
my health.
Mhm.
So I know when every month I'm not losing it, but it
Yeah.
doesn't mean I'm a failure. It just means I didn't hit my goal. So
Mm.
that's how your question goes, is how do I hold myself accountable? Is number one, I know what great is because I got
Yeah.
that from the people that I learned from. And
Yeah.
then I asked myself that serious question is like, did I achieve my goal of losing that? Like I said, I had two life threatening situations, one with cancer and one, with an aneurysm, right?
Oh
And
wow.
so, bro, you got to ask yourself why? Why did it?
Mm.
What's in it for me to learn from? I'm never gonna play that victim mentality,
Mm.
And so, yeah, I was this time last year, I was in the ICU for 2.5 weeks. I almost died,
Wow.
and you wouldn't even know because I don't tell you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
Oh well,
lucky.
yeah. No, yeah. Wow. That's talk about just being able to reflect on the blessing, like the blessing of life,
Yeah,
and again, like you said, yeah. Some people will never know, and I think, man, that part hits so much because nobody will ever know the true like depth of your story, but you do. You know it.
you could share it with your inner circle, though, right?
Right.
To this day, I'm emotional, so it's hard. But it's hard because, bro, I couldn't walk when I got out.
Wow.
I had to
Uh.
read. Well, I could walk, but I had to sit down after 5 minutes. I couldn't walk for 2.5, 3 weeks in the hospital.
Yeah.
And then I have to learn who the new Armando is going to be, and how it's going to impact my life, and what,
Mm.
and the medical system, and today is whack. So can't
Mm.
blame that. It's my fault. It's my fault that happened to me. So
Mm.
I again, I don't play the victim mentality, but you got to make the best with what the cards you're dealt with. So yeah, I had that, and I always think, okay, God, what's the lesson you're giving me here? What do I
Mm.
need to learn? I'm good because I'm still
Mm.
alive.
Yeah.
And again, I was hanging out with you, and we're talking sneakers and hip hop and hoops and stuff. Man,
Right.
I could have got a stroke. I could have been permanently, damaged.
Yeah.
But I also could have died. When you're in the ICU, bro, and they had my parents fly in within 24 hours because they didn't think I was gonna make it.
Man. No, like, well, I appreciate you sharing, and I just talk about somebody just saying, "All right, I'm moving on. I'm moving forward. I'm
Well,
still gonna push forward."
what I learned from that lesson is, you know, I'm easy going to remove people that are toxic.
Yeah. That's
There's a saying in Spanish, mejor solo que mal acompañado. It's better being solo than within bad company. And
mm,
so that was probably the best lesson that I
mm,
apply now is that I'm not trying to convince you, and we don't have the same vibe. Está bien. I'm not trying to be
mm.
judgmental, but like you pretty much know who the people you want in your life the way you are. You pretty much
Yeah.
know what is positive and what's not positive in your views.
Yeah.
And so you just have to make that. So I make that call quicker now. I know people sometimes, Armando, you're too tough on people. Nah, why should I have to lower myself to hang
Mm,
with you? Why don't you lower, increase your to hang out at a table that could be so much of value to your life?
mm-hmm.
So no, I'm good with quality over quantity.
No, and that is perfect because why would you want to lower your standards or lower your bar, right?
But it happens.
To
But it
but
happens every day, right?
but but exactly. That's what I was gonna say. And we got to ask ourselves that too. And I think the the like you said, the connections and being able to, like, especially with what you all do and the networking and all of that. I mean, you want the right people around you. You want the right
Yeah.
people around you. Why would you want to bring around? I love what you said. Like, why would you want to bring around a bunch of negative people like that? Because that's all you're going to get. You're just gonna get all the negativity.
I see why people do it, right? I see why people do it. And I've been burned by people too. So I'm not saying that. I don't remember the
Mm-hmm.
last time I was burnt, but I see why people do it. And for the sake of this show, seeking that validation from others is
Mm,
dangerous slope. It's a
mm,
dangerous slope. So that validation, man, should be from you and your two
yeah.
or three. Mi abuelita used to say, Mama Ana used to say, count your friends on one hand, right?
Ooh.
And because I was 16, 17 when she told me I was a popular kid, and she thought this doesn't impress me. All your friends, count your friends on five. Which five you like? And to this day,
mm,
she's right because I have five friends. That's it. And
yeah.
so seeking validation of others is up there with mental health issues.
Mhm.
It really is.
Mhm.
Because, man, those people can have their own agenda. They could be, this world is cruel.
Yeah.
So think of you, Matthew, as
Mhm.
if you have a kid, how would you want them to go about it? So why don't we
Right.
apply that self-love?
Yeah.
So that's why, man, I tell people it's not personal if I don't roll with you. It's just it just doesn't roll with me. That's all, you know?
That's good. No, and that's true because, like you said, there's so many people that need that validation or need that acceptance from everyone. And
Yeah.
here's the thing, too, man. I mean, this is the one that a lot of people don't like to hear, but you cannot please everybody. Like, you cannot please everybody.
Yeah.
And, there's times where people are going to maybe do something or, never say sorry, and you're gonna hold on to it, or you're gonna
You
figure
know,
out how to move on
that's
from
my
it.
biggest pet peeve, man, when people cannot apologize.
Yeah.
I love apologizing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what prevents people from apologizing is ego.
Yeah.
That is what kills growth. That is what
Mm-hmm.
kills relationships that was what kills potential impactful moments in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and it's so true. And then it's being, people being stubborn and stuck and
Yeah.
not wanting to admit, yeah, like you said, not wanting to admit that they're wrong.
Usually people who they are today is a formation, a journey from their past experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, if you take the time to understand people, I didn't say accept,
Mm-hmm.
understand, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if someone's a jerk, but you understand that they've had a rough childhood or, their parents, wasn't really supportive or they had a bad breakup, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
if you understand that, it helps you cope with them,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean you're in a position of judging. It doesn't mean that you're, have the right to, but it helps you understand some people. Like I don't treat everyone the same. I treat some people
Mm-hmm.
differently based upon the survival tactics, what
Mm-hmm.
they've been through. Like that's impressive.
Yeah.
You look at, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
man, you look at hustlers that make it, you have to admire that
Yeah.
impactful moment in their life that went this way, it could have gone that way. So that's why we say
Yeah.
people is like, take the time to understand people.
No, for sure. I think that's something that's huge. And this is I want to point this out too. It's like that the emotional intelligence part of things is so big because when you have that, you can understand, okay, I get this or I see this person's that, and you're able to relate and connect.
It's easier now, while harder. It's not easy. It's easier now to say, hey Matt, I know you've hung out over your career in your industry with 10 people that survived. You know how cool it is when you get those 10 to hang out with five others that are challenges
Mhm.
because they've been there.
Mhm.
See, that's why I'm not a fan of I'm gonna keep it positive. That's why I think communication and relativity and connection is key.
Yeah.
And the best way you can give back is by being open about it.
Yeah.
People have a hard time admitting where they need to grow or where they're insecure or where they're, just be vulnerable so you can build that foundation to grow.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? My cousin, she's a recovering addict, right?
Mm.
And one thing that I admire about her, because she recovered, was the strength to admit she had to break herself down to nothing
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
move up. Well, if you
Yeah.
don't break yourself down, then you're lingering here because you're too embarrassed to admit you need help.
Yeah.
And then your ego, you're getting older, and that turns into depression and
Mhm.
insecurity.
Yeah.
And that's a tough thing. So I think the best form of prevention is understand people's journeys and then go hang out with them.
Mm.
That's it.
Yeah.
You see what they've done, man. That's why I don't believe in these motivational speakers on social media. What have you
Oh,
done?
don't get me started on
Oh, we
that
can get
one,
started
dude.
on that. We need some good sound bite.
We can go into that one. I have this. So yeah, my thing is, we got so many. I posted something the other day. It was like some people are. It was like Mr. Bean standing around waiting for something to happen, and it was like he's literally like people waiting for their manifestation without putting in the work. And then you've got people talking about, hey, just you can do this, you could do that, but there's work. There's there's a part that people
There's
play in it.
experience. There's
There's
experience.
experience.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it doesn't just, you know, you don't just switch something, especially like when people are going through stuff, right?
I think that's the biggest form of malpractice.
Exactly.
You're a
And I thought,
professional in that industry,
yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And you're taught what you can and cannot do. That's why there's a lot of whack therapists out there, man. That it is malpractice. It is
It's
malpractice,
it
you
is,
know.
and they're you know, a lot of them get sued or they lose their license, and you know
You
they
know
end
what?
up.
I don't really care about that. You know what I care about? They're damaging someone who went there for
Well, that
help.
that's what I'm going to next.
Yeah.
That's the
Hmm.
other thing, right?
Yeah.
It's a matter of, dude, don't tell people lies because you're trying to sell them something.
Because you're
You
trying to
know,
fill a void in your life.
right? It's the immediate quick fix that is, hey, do this and everything will go away. It's like, no, dude, that's not how it works. That's not
You
how
know,
it works.
you know, it's funny you say that, but when we go to Heaven's Gate on Judgment Day, God knows what you did.
Yeah.
I don't survive too, and I don't want to jinx it because I know God, I'm just being thankful, God. I don't want to jinx it, but 2 times I could have died.
Yeah.
So for everyone that says Armando could be a jerk or was a jerk, nah, man. There's a reason. I'm grateful and I am obsessed on like when I met you, it was organic. Like, yo,
Right.
boom, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
Man, because I'm obsessed on giving God back what he gave me 2 times
Hmm.
life. You know
That's
what I
good.
mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, no, that those social media influencers, man, they're negligent. And I'm not saying don't seek help, but I'm saying seek the right help. And it's
Boom.
usually people who survived it through experience, like what you're talking about, you know?
Yeah. Hmm. That's good. Those are just the diamonds just dropping, because that's so true. It's like, don't avoid help. It's just you got to seek the right type of help, because everybody nowadays, and this is what in the field with mental health, it's called pop psychology. Essentially,
Hmm.
it's become, hey, everybody knows everything. Everybody's qualified to talk and be your therapist and be your, not when somebody's dealing with some crazy stuff or intense stuff and they don't have any formal training. It's like, so there's a lot of that. And unfortunately, it doesn't get called out enough. But I think the more we talk about it, the more people will hear
You
and
got it.
say,
The more you
yeah,
talk about it.
yeah,
I always tell people, hold on a second, someone.
no, you're good.
I always tell people like on social media, you can learn a lot from people you don't know,
Hmm.
right? And if someone says they've done and do this and you're going to learn from this, those 3 things, just look up their social
Hmm.
because there's only so much the lie can be maintained,
Yeah.
right? If
No, that's true.
you look me up, hey, I have cooked. You look
Right.
me up, I'm passionate for sports. You look
Yeah.
me up, I've always hang out with
Yeah.
like the culture.
Right.
So I culture vultures, the majority will look like us.
Yeah.
Now, before everyone says Armando, hablando mierda, whatever, no, bro, trust me, our surname doesn't define who we are.
Uh-huh.
And so that's why I'm like, just research people, man.
Hmm.
Just research people. It's like why do people go out and look for gold? It's a bunch of beaches and sand, but you're looking for those diamonds.
Right.
That's the way it is on social media, man.
It's true,
That's
dude.
why, you know how many people go post a video and then like within 30 minutes they're obsessed. How many likes did I get?
Yeah.
It's like, bro, just put the content out there because someone's
Hmm.
going to love and you're gonna touch someone that had a bad day,
Yeah.
and so yeah, that's all I always say, kind of like just verify, because it's a lot easier and now with social media, you have accessible free
It's true.
access. And
Yeah.
just go to a professional in that because they could see you the wrong way and that could your life, man.
No, and that's a big thing. And I think that would be one of the biggest things to say to people too is, hey, make sure a person's qualified. If you're getting support, you're getting help, you got to look up. You're not just, I mean, I would hope that you wouldn't just go and do a random life-changing thing with somebody who's not qualified. And that could go into anything, finances, real estate, all this stuff.
Yeah, and have a different resource or mentor to every sector of your life. Like
Exactly.
for example, Gary, happily married,
Mhm.
um, rags, grew up in a rough hood, played sports,
Mhm.
built the largest business trade association in the country with
Yeah.
class, there, boom.
Exactly.
Then there's Juan Martinez, where he's a mogul in business and he loves to
Mm-hmm.
cook, right? And so like boom, we hang. And then you got like Daisy and Sarah, women rainmakers,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're gonna get mad if they watch this, grandmas, right? Um, and then you look at the hoops, you look at the Earl Watson and George Zidans,
Yeah.
Omar Sanchez of the world,
Mm-hmm.
and what I realized that all of them go through ups and downs.
Yeah.
And I learn so much when they come up when they're
Mm-hmm.
down.
Mm.
And of course, the goats are my mom and dad, you know.
Yeah.
My mom and
Yeah.
dad are the goats. And so
Mm.
you have to have different, because if it's the same person for everything, Matthew, you're never gonna get a different experience.
That's good. That's
Only
so
that person's
good.
experience. Yeah, yeah. No, you have to have
Yeah.
different experiences.
Yeah. No, it's true. And it's you don't want just the one perspective, right?
Nah, hell no.
Yeah. Yeah, that's especially and when it comes to all kinds of stuff. And that kind of I do want to ask too, like even with the fashion, and I know you got some Armando's got some dope stuff you all have to check out, and that too connects so many people, and that's why I love like what you do with saying that fashion connects the culture, it connects with the music, it connect
Yeah,
all of it, right? And
yeah.
like anything you want to add about that?
Well, we grew up in fashion. I used to grow up watching my older cousins go on dates with member only jackets, listen to,
Oh, the members only.
yeah, listen to,
Yeah.
Electric Kingdom. And
Yeah.
so we always grew up like with fashion forward, but on the Latino side, like I grew up in the Bay. I grew
Yeah.
up with mamá, abuelita, mis tías, mis primas, mis tíos, papi, mami, with cultural stuff. But like I grew up in the Bay, there was Mac Dre. I listened to the
Yeah.
Funny All Stars because I love
Uh-huh.
Latin music. Hector Lavoe. I couldn't find anything that was cool, right? Everything was
Mm.
stereotypical, and that's tough
Yeah.
because I got to be careful when I say that. But like, like look at you. You had the
I
swag.
get
Me and you
I
were
get what
sitting
you're saying.
down at the Veritas game. Oh, that's a Miri. Oh, I
Yeah.
never see. I never see. Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's how we grew up here. So it's a
Right.
it's a hybrid. They're just
Yeah.
finally. It's just something today came out on multicultural, meaning double cultures.
Uh-huh.
Like, what is the true definition of Latino in America today? Well,
Yeah.
la doble cultura, right?
Uh-huh.
Romeo is Dominican, Boricua. You look at the World Baseball Classic, they're mixed. That's why they're able to play in both teams.
Right.
So going back to the fashion stuff, it's a business. You have to understand the business. So I found out about dropship. And so
Mm.
you just create all these positive slogans, because if I could take a slogan that I grew up with and turn it into a mindset. So yeah,
Yeah.
I do have a Bendecido and Bendecida t-shirt,
Yeah.
because how cool is that to rock?
It's
Because you could
dope.
touch other people on a word that you grew up, every household, bendiciones, right?
Right. It's so dope.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, anti gente fea crew. It's like gente fea is like we're laughing at the racists who laugh at us,
Yeah.
because the
Yeah.
world is changing. Look at Bad Bunny with the NFL. Look at the global with
Mhm.
Young Nico. Look at the World Baseball Classic. The highest viewed is Dominicans over Otani.
Yeah.
So like it's not. Man, I always say this. It it's the dopest to do is to embrace your culture.
For
It's
sure.
not when you're trying to force your culture on people. When you're
Right.
trying to force it on people that this is the right,
Yeah.
what I tell you, there's always going to be division. Just pick the right side. But
Yeah.
it's the dopest assets that you have that you can share something, and you got swag, and so that what inspired it. Achieving dopeness, embrace the
Yeah.
cultura,
Yeah.
repping the culture. This is all like a mindset with like fashion colors. So I have the mauve, I have the
Uh-huh.
black. You could dress down, dress up. So yeah, that's like my little passion project.
No, for sure. I see it, and I respect it because I've always,
Yeah.
like you said, like it resonated with me. With growing up, we always had like we had to, if we got the one pair of shoes, if we could get one pair of shoes right for school, and you wore them all year, it was like that was your fresh pair for the first day. If you could get one, Jordans, whatever the culture of, then it shifted to Dunks, and then it was like, oh, you got to have, all of it. I
Bro,
love
you're
talking. I
you're
love
lucky.
talking
You're lucky.
fashion.
You're lucky you can talk about that, because I remember my best friend Max and I, since fourth grade, we waited for the old editions to get old, and they would be at Marshalls because
Oh
we
man.
couldn't afford Foot Locker, right? So remember the Filas back in the days? We used to get the
Yeah.
British Knights and the Filas at Marshalls or Ross because
Yeah.
then you move up later and you're, I
Right.
could buy at the mall and Foot Locker, But no,
Yeah.
and now it's all vintage.
No, I know. Yeah.
I was in New York with some buddy Gers, the Knicks, and he brought in a guy, Jeff, who basically has been the fashion icon for 20, 30 years. He ran Sean John, but
Oh,
prior to
okay.
Sean John, he
Yeah.
worked at Anichi. So
Oh,
we
no
were,
way.
yeah, so we talked about the Sean John, actually
Yeah.
forget that. We can't be talking about Diddy, but the Anichi, right? The Stephon Marbury, the Terry Cloth shorts, right?
Yeah.
Sally's Fashion.
Yeah.
And then you had the Adidas. Look at the Adidas, are still in style, the two-piece, whatever.
Yep.
And then of course the Chinese Adidas jackets are fire, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not paying 700-800, so I gotta wait for a friend to go to China, and then he can
Bring it back.
yeah. So yeah,
No,
we can
and
talk fashion all day because
I know.
fashion is a way to connect.
No, it's true, and there's so many ways to connect and relate, and like you and we said that at the Avance at the Veritas game, where like one of the first things I do is I'm like looking at shoes or I'm looking at the jacket.
It's a reality. It's a reality.
That's how I.
It's a
That's
it's
how
a
I.
way it's a way for you to connect, right?
Yeah, that's how I move, and I'll be one of the first people to say, "Hey, dude, those are dope," or "Hey, bro, I like that. That's
An
fire."
organic connection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we could talk fashion,
yeah.
hoops, music all day.
We're gonna have to run it back.
Yeah.
I want to respect your time, bro. So I don't want to keep you forever. But anything else too that you want to say, and just like advice or just any gems you want to drop, and please say what your Instagram is and all of the the cooking and everything.
Follow me on Instagram, Tito's Mundo, like the vodka, MUNDO, Tito's Mundo. I would say that, for the purpose of our connection is to accept the harsh reality so that you can find the light in chaos. Find your clarity in chaos, man. There's always going to be division. There's always going to be racism. There's always going to be challenges to overcome. Just stay calm. Stay calm as long as you find that clarity to navigate in chaos.
Yeah.
And then you find the right side you want to be on. Think of your house rule, man. You want 100 people. You want 100 races, or you want 100 positive people?
Yeah.
Make it that simple. And when you find those 100, on your way to those 100, build a community of positivity, and that's what you do. But don't be afraid to walk away. It's not personal. It's just business.
Oof, I love it. No, I appreciate that, man. So, everyone, thanks so much for tuning in, and
thank
shout
you,
out
bro.
again. No, I appreciate you. Shout out to Armando. We don't be surprised if we don't run this back. So and talk some more. But
we'll get you in Vegas. We'll get you in Vegas live, bro.
Dude, let me know, man.
Count September 13th through the 16th. We'll get you AVANCE Sports. Get you live. Broadcast. You got to do like a live stream. You got to get some content. We're gonna get Latino business owners that got sneaker shops. Shout out to Ryan. Former Hooper players that are building apps, starting companies. After the transition from the court, you're gonna have a lot of great. We got some good major all-stars coming too. I can't announce the names yet.
That's dope.
But it's gonna be a celebration of culture with business always in mind.
There you go. And why would, and to everybody listening too, why would you not want to go to something like that? Like that.
It's the best, bro. It's the best.
Everything there. So appreciate you all. And again, Armando, appreciate you. I'm going to go ahead and sign off on this, but we'll talk to you all next time on Well Talk. Appreciate you.